I've watched successful men lose more money in one emotional decision than they made in their first business. I watched men build 6 figures, 7 figures even, nice real estate portfolios, retirement accounts, multiple strong businesses, only to lose leverage, control, peace, even access to their children, all because they thought money means I'm ready for polygamy. It doesn't. Today, I'm going to show you the $500,000 mistake high income men make before adding an additional wife. And if you're making serious money, this video may save you years and a fortune. Warning, what you're about to hear may challenge your beliefs, confront your excuses, and expose where your frame may be weak. Good, because comfort doesn't build leaders. Truth doesn't follow trends, and legacy was never meant for the crowd. Our content is made for men and women who value truth over trends, structure and substance over style, and legacy over likes. If that speaks to you, welcome to Outstanding Personal Relationships. I'm Coach Nazir. Let's get it. So you may be wondering, who is this guy? Jump in the comments, want to figure it out. Listen, I get it. It's a good question. I'm Coach Nazir. I'm one of the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships, as well as one of the authors of the book, Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored, that I wrote with both of my wives. I've been married for 31 years, practicing polygyny for 16. I'm a father of 10, bonus father to 2, and also work with high-performing men and women who choose to practice polygyny with clarity, confidence, and courage without feeling dismissed, disrespected, or defeated using our frame system. So what I'm about to share with you is not theory, it's patterns. And patterns do not lie. Assalamu alaikum. Peace. Welcome. Now, listen carefully. Money does not make you ready, sir. A bigger income does not create stronger leadership. A bigger house does not create better structure. A nicer lifestyle might be nice, but it doesn't create emotional maturity. And one of the most dangerous lies many financially successful men tell themselves is, I can afford it, so I must be ready. No. Cash flow does not equate leadership. Now, here's mistake number 1. Man builds income, but not structure. Many financially successful men know how to scale businesses or hire teams. They know how to go through the contracts. They know all these little details, right? They build systems and they manage risk. But at home, there's no family constitution. There is a lack of standards, no financial boundaries, no leadership meeting. Yeah, at home, leadership meetings, right? No household systems, no conflict protocols. So what happens? More money just funds more chaos. Let me give an example. I coach one client. He owned 3 businesses, number of different investment properties, had a luxury lifestyle, looked really good. He wanted an additional wife. He wanted legacy. So polygyny, right? He wanted to expand his family. So I asked him, how often do you and your wife sit and review finances together? Do you make a profit and loss statement? He said, we don't. I asked him, okay, well, who controls discretionary spending? He was like, well, it kind of depends on her mood. So I asked, I said, I kind of made a statement. I said, you don't really need expansion. You need governance. See, more money without structure creates more expensive dysfunction. Now, mistake number 2, he hides income. This one destroys trust. This is very important to understand because some men hide accounts, they hide investments, they hide side deals, opportunities, even their plans. Not because they're necessarily evil, they're just low on the spectrum, but because they're scared. They're scared of conflict, questions, pushback. They're scared of emotional reactions. But listen closely. Secrecy always creates suspicion. It always is expensive. So one brother I know, he was buying some land, right? He was building assets, making smart moves, getting things done. He never told his wife. Now you might be asking, why didn't you tell her? Well, he said, look, coach, she just complained. 3 months later, she found different documents. And now instead of talking about growth, he's talking to lawyers. Look, weak men hide. Strong men lead difficult conversations. I should know because I was at that point early on when I chose to practice polygyny. All right, I wasn't forthcoming. It was more avoidance and just waiting and so on. So at that time, my leadership was very weak at home. And I had to come to that conclusion. It's not easy, but it doesn't matter if it was easy. The question is it worth it? Mistake number 3. He thinks providing buys compliance. Now, this one is you. See, some men think, well, I pay all the bills. I built the lifestyle, right? I bought the house. I fund the vacations. So she should understand, right? Nah, listen. Provision does not replace leadership. It's good to have, but many women, they can enjoy your money, that you're sponsoring their lifestyle, and they can still not trust your mission. Another brother said, Coach, man, I give her everything. I asked, does she trust your leadership? And all I got was silence. He said, I don't know. Exactly. Got to understand there's a big difference. If what I'm saying is hitting harder than expected, there's a reason. See, most men were never taught how to introduce difficult conversations, especially about polygyny, without collapsing emotionally, over-explaining, falling prey to the tears, and losing control of frame. That's exactly why I created the Forbidden Conversation Playbook. How men of value introduce polygyny without losing respect, their families, or their frame. So you can learn step by step how to lead hard conversations, handle emotional reactions, including yours, maintaining respect, and stop feeling dismissed, disrespected, or defeated. If that's where you are right now, go to polygamybooks.com, or the link is wherever on this page. Now, back to what I was talking about. Mistake number 4, no legal or financial vision. Some men have a dream, but no documentation, no estate planning, no trusts, no contingency plans, no asset strategy, no succession planning. Listen here, gentlemen. If your vision isn't written, it's simply a fantasy. Think about that. So one brother I know worth over 7 figures, but there was no will, no trust, no succession plan, no strategic use of corporations. There was no family governance, but he wanted an additional wife. So I asked him, look, God forbid, Allah forbid, if you die tonight, who inherits this confusion? Think about that. Now, I'm gonna ask you, if you made it this far in this video, that means that you're serious. You're kind of looking for some education or transformation even. But if you understand that wealth without structure is just expensive chaos, I want you to put this in the comments. I want you to put legacy over lifestyle. Yep, LOL. Legacy over lifestyle. That tells me that you're not building income, you're focused on really building a dynasty. So here's what polygyny exposes. See, when an additional wife enters, generally speaking, financial weaknesses become visible. Example, there's hidden debt. There's lifestyle addiction. That's the style without substance. I want to look good, but at the same time, you're broke. I have a $500 bag, but not $500 in it. All right? Again, lifestyle addiction. There's emotional spending. There's boundary issues. There's family entitlement and privilege. There's control through money. And many men realize, far too late, I may add, I wasn't building legacy. I was simply funding comfort. So one client wanted to expand his family with polygyny, right? But every financial decision required emotional approval. So I asked him, are you managing wealth, or are you basically just negotiating an allowance? See, you might ask, all right, well, what do serious men do? Well, they focus on increasing their frame. What is frame, Coach Nazir? Well, for men, frame stands for being fearless in your conversations and moving forward, being able to sit in discomfort. That doesn't mean you don't have fear. That just means you fear less. That means you're reliable. Your word is your bond. You work on making sure when you say something, you're walking the talk. You're demonstrating. All right, you are dependable. Then, of course, the A stands for ambition. I can't teach ambition. Can't teach desire. That's something in you. But it's also demonstrable from where you come by looking in the past and seeing where you are now, where you're going to the future. Also being masculine, being to stand in that stillness, being able to be stoic and handle situations in discomfort. Now, with that, You also have the E. The E is being exceptional, not just based on ambition or business or whatnot, but in many of these different parts of your life, not necessarily every part of life, but you're striving for excellence or ihsan, if you will. Then, after focusing on frame, that's where we focus on governance, documentation, structure, transparency, legacy. See, weak men earn, while strong men architect. So, hear me carefully. Maybe you can afford multiple wives, but can your systems? Maybe you built some money, some income, right? But did you build governance? Maybe you built some financial success, but did you build legacy? So if you're serious, if you're a husband or an initial wife or an incoming wife, future wife, perhaps, and you want to know where you or your spouse falls on the spectrum, start with the OPR spectrum diagnostic below. Somewhere on this page, there's a link that takes you to polygamyquiz.com, where you can find out where you stand, all right? Because patterns don't lie. With that being said, I want you to be outstanding, because average is nothing but the top of the bottom of the top. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.